And headaches. I am your host, Larry H. Gardner. The H stands for, how did I get into this mess? All right, so we're on our way. We're on voiceitradio.com, www.voiceitradio.com. Calling number is 216-772-0500. This show, Voice It Radio, was sponsored by the Allens Board and Ohio City Barbecue. Tastes so good, man. You going to slap your mama? Barbecue. I don't do that because I will not be here if I did that. So before I get to my guest, just wanted to say some things that it was on my Facebook Live and some other things. Early voting has already started in the race for, in the race for mayor and also Cleveland City Council. We have my guest is running for Ward 4 in Cleveland City Council. That is Ken Johnson's old ward. And you know Ken Johnson, the man who's probably wearing orange right about now because he was convicted and sentenced to 6 years in federal prison for bribery in City Council. So the thing about it is that before I get started, I wanted to say a couple of things that I already put on my posts and my Facebook and things of that nature. So yes, I have endorsed Imani Capri for Maple Heights City Council President. Yes, I've endorsed Andrea Nelson Moore for Cleveland Municipal Court Judge. Yes, we have endorsed Shayla Davis for Mayor of Garfield Heights. And yes, I've endorsed Justin M. Bibb for Mayor of the City of Cleveland. So, and by the way, I have made the station is not endorsing them. I am Larry Gardner. Shows that I do are endorsing those particular candidates. The reason why is because I feel like if we want great leadership, we need change, and change is always good. And to shake up the things, especially at Cleveland City Hall, and tiresome of all the stuff that's been going on as far as corruption and things of that nature, as I said before you. So, by the way, and we already know about John Gruden, things of that nature, the emails that he sent over that were misogynistic, racist, and homophobic, especially the Commissioner Roger Goodell. He has resigned from coach of the Raiders. There's going to be more talking about Bruce Allen, the former general manager of the Washington Redskins. And there's over 650,000 emails that have been sent between parties in NFL, and it was an NFL probe. So do I think John Gruden deserves to get fired? Yes, I do. But the thing about it is there's going to be some more heads rolling as soon as it happens. Browns play the Cardinals this Sunday at 1 o'clock at Cleveland Brown Stadium. And there's some other forums that I'm going to be a part of as far as there's a forum at there's going to be a forum at a Baptist church on this Thursday, October 21st. Look out for the flyer with the two mayoral candidates in tow. So EP, the show host, is here. Please play the entrance music so I can bring my guest in. So... and thank you very much for listening to me. I know that I'm speeding through there. It's just the thing about it is that there's some things going on that I wish not to share. So right now, I'm playing Jay-Z. And the thing about it is he wants to be your next city councilman in Ward 4. That is the Buckeye area. Please welcome Mr. Erick B. Walker to the station. How you doing, Erick?
I'm good. Thank you, Larry, for having me. Thank you.
No problem. So, the thing about it is like the first thing I'm going to ask is, why do you want to run for Cleveland City Council in Ward 4?
And that's the question, the $1 million question. So, I've been living in Ward 4 pretty much all my life. We moved over here when I was 12 years old. My mother and my older sister bought a house on 140th in Kinsman. And so I grew up in this ward. I went to Robert Fulton, which is now abandoned, and kind of when I decided to go to college, I graduated from Lutheran High School East and went to the University of Akron. And as well, while I was there, I joined the United States Army Reserve. And so I moved out the house and went and saw the world and went to college and everything, and came back and moved back. Started working at the Cleveland Public Library, which I've been there for 27 years now, and just kind of saw how things have changed and declined, and how our city was moving forward, and you know the resources that weren't available, and the corruption that was in City Hall, and people needing things, and all of that. And so I decided to, one of my mottos is to, if you're going to complain, what's the solution that you're bringing to it? And this is my solution to that.
Right.
Get involved and to try to bring back some integrity back to our ward and to city council.
Okay, so the question is, this is what my question is. You said you work for the Cleveland Public Library?
Yes, sir.
Which branch?
So I work downtown in the Lewis Stokes wing in government documents.
Okay. So this is your first time running, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and you made it past the primary and going to the general. So what attributes would you bring if you were elected to be Ward 4 City Council?
So, through training in the United States Army, it taught me to have leadership qualities there. I am a union representative for SEIU right now, so it taught me organization skills. I work for Cleveland Public Library. It taught me the skills to know how to research and find things that probably are going to be needed for our ward. I attend Olivet Institutional Baptist Church, so that spirituality is there, and so all of those things, I believe, puts me in a great position to lead our ward forward.
Mm-hmm. So, and the thing is that you want to lead the ward forward. What is the first? We had a lot of things going on, issues, especially in Ward 4 development. Ward 4, unfortunately, if you walk down Buckeye, it's near the Shaker area, around the Lashmere area. You go to the Lashmere, Shaker areas. It looks great. And if you go down Buckeye, past 116th, everything, it doesn't look so great. So how would you bring development to Ward 4 if you were elected?
So, and thank you for that question, because the one thing I want to do, and I don't know if anybody knows, but every time I bring it up, they go, really? There's a theater on 119th and Buckeye. It's been there for years. I believe that at some point in time it was a church. But just like on the west side, they had a theater. I think that theater, not necessarily being a theater in itself where movies are being shown, but how about let's get that theater up and running and renovated so that theater could serve our community. Mm-hmm. One of my visions for that theater is to have forums like just for this time where we in our community, we could have the mayor come and our community could come and ask questions and see what he or she has to say. When we have meetings for our ward meetings, if I become councilman, let's have ward meetings there. Let's use that space to bring about like talent shows or things like that. Get our youth involved. Have them come in and use the space. We could even use it to rent it out to people all over the city who wants to come into our ward and have events there. So that's just one thing. And I believe, Buckeye is going through some renovation right now. Mm-hmm. There's some planned renovation in the future. And I do believe that if we get that theater up and running, that everything else is going to follow. Of course, there's going to, we're going to have to look at investment in small businesses. We know that when we empower our small businesses, it empowers the community. So looking at how do we get capital and things of that nature, working with the CECs to get our small businesses and those who want to create a small business up on Buckeye, even on Kinsman and things of that nature. I remember, like I said, I grew up in this community. I remember the mom and pop shops back then. So those are just some of the things that I, envision going forward. Of course, I'm going to have to see what the residents want if I'm elected. Listen to how they want me to move, and let them lend their hand to some ideas and developing and things like that. So I'm excited.
So, how would you bring public safety? Unfortunately, that Ward 4 area is a high crime area. How would you bring safety to that? As bringing the businesses to, especially small minority businesses. How would you public safety? How would you deal with that?
So poverty is directly connected to crime. And if we don't deal with our impoverished situation here in Ward 4, the crime is going to continue. And so I believe that first and foremost, in order to bring about safety, we're going to have to deeply deal with the poverty situation in our ward. Of course, Cleveland Police right now is down in resources, and I think we need to look strategically on how to get them back up and running. But
Right.
Right now, when you start giving people means to making money and things of that nature, they 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 they're involved in that, and so the crime takes a back seat. So I just strongly believe that dealing with poverty it will reduce crime. I have one of my best friends, and I call him my brother. He's a police officer, and we really kind of talked about this issue. And that's one of the things that he said. He works right now in Chief Williams' office, and one of the things he said is that in order to reduce the crime throughout the city, we're going to have to deal with the poverty situation, and the next administration and the next city council is going to have to take that up.
Right. Speaking of which, we'll probably get to this after break. As far as you're going to be dealing with a new mayor. But the thing about it is, I'm looking at your flyer in front of me. It said, respect the voters, the only candidate who did not ask to be appointed to the vacant Ward 4 council seat by Judge Russo. Stands with working people, union officer in SCIU 1199. Headquarters in Ward 4 to get things done at City Hall. Pledges to have monthly ward meetings to hear residents' concerns and solutions. So pretty much, how would you, before we go to break, how would you have those meetings in Ward 4 for the residents? And how would you get the information out there for those community meetings?
So, back when I remember, and this is post, prior to COVID, we had the community came together and had meetings in person. And I envision doing that again. I envision, when our previous councilman was here, we had we had board meetings at one particular place. My plan is to kind of spread those meetings around. I'm optimistic that we'll be coming back in person, and so I would look at the area rec centers, the area halls, probably some churches that would help or sponsor these meetings. And of course, once you're in office, you have the platform to mail out those notices that we're having a meeting and give a schedule to those things. So that's my plan to really get back into having our community come together. Right now, we for so long we have been so divided, and I believe that was purposeful. And at some point in time, if we want to be a force in this city, we're going to have to come together. And that's my pledge to really fight to bring this community together, to learn from each other, and to kind of I talked some time back with the now councilwoman Anita Gardner, and one thing she has said is that we've got to put neighbor back in neighborhood, and part of that is putting bringing our neighbors together. We don't even know each other. We haven't come together, and so when you don't know each other and you have no direct connection with one another, you feel a certain type of way. But if you know your neighbor, and if you know what they need, and if you're talking to them every day, that makes a difference.
Okay.
And and let me just go back to safety, public safety, for a minute. Um, it- we're going to have to, even though poverty is a big thing, we're going to have to get back to community policing. Community policing is essential, I believe. Again, when I was young, we had block clubs, and pretty much each street or each section had a block club where if something was going on, neighbors knew about what was going on, and if somebody was sick, neighbors knew about who was sick, and if somebody needed something, neighbors knew about what that person needed. And so, getting back into that mode where we're we're being neighbors and we're caring for one another and we're concerned about our well-being, I think that's going to lead as well to alleviating some of the crimes in our ward.
All right. Like a good neighbor, safe from the stair. I'm playing. All right, Ian, we're going to take a break real quick. When you come back, we're going to go into the intense thing. There's like I said, besides the wards, there is a mayoral debate going on. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that and what does Erick Walker think about the mayoral debate? What's going on? So this is Daz Effects, Dazzy One Effects. One of the old school things going on. This is Headlines and Headaches on voiceitradio.com, 216-772-0500. We'll be right back in a minute. What's up, Mario, Darius, Stan? Oh, Jesus. Break is 2 minutes. Is it 2 minutes or 3? 2 minutes or 3. Break is 2 minutes or 3.
3 minutes.
How you feeling?
I feel good. Thanks for this. Really.
No problem. I mean, thank you. I'd like to get you on here talking about your platform. Can you do a commercial? I know it's 2 weeks before November.
So
He's the owner, so I'm just letting you know.
Oh, okay.
Tune in to Daughters of the Nile every Friday from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. at voiceitradio.com. We bring you news from the national stage.
I know it's, I know we gotta get going. That race, y'all race is close.
2 weeks now? 2, 3 weeks?
2, 3, yeah, 2, 3 weeks.
Daughters of the Nile every Friday from 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. on voiceitradio.com.
This is Zuma Zabala, President and CEO for East End Neighborhood House, and I host your weekly East End Neighborhood wrap-up show here on Voice It Radio from 2 to 3 p.m. every Friday. Tune in.
Hi, this is Queen Elder Jacqueline Swales.
Thank you, Mario.
Tune in to Daughters of the Nile every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. at voiceitradio.com.
Whether you're a Clevelander by birth or choice, visit on down to Ohio City Barbecue and taste our award-winning ribs, pulled pork, and tender brisket located at 3829 Lorraine Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio. For all your barbecue needs, catering, or
Time to suck
delivery.
it up. Good plan. Good points. Well, I'm looking at this. It's good. Glad you was able to calm down. You survived those other candidates too. There were like what, 6 of them in there?
It was 10. It was
10, yeah, it was a lot.
It was looking great.
Damn.
It is now found in powder cocaine, crack cocaine, meth, and heroin. Any drug may contain fentanyl. If you use drugs, never use alone, and carry Narcan in case of overdose. Call the Adams Board 24-hour addiction line and mental health crisis hotline at area code 216-623-6888. That's 216-623-6888.
The Cleveland Public Library, we're having a forum for our staff on the 19th with the Adams Board coming.
Okay.
Talking about black men and mental health.
Mm.
Yeah, every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. live right here on voiceitradio.com.
Hey, this is Erick, television director and creator of the graphic novel series, Legend of the Mastermind. Whether I'm in Cleveland or Cali or on Ravensholm or Life in Pieces, I'm always tuned in to voiceitradio.com.
What's going on, y'all? This is Kate Sermon, the CFO of Death Rugs. When I'm making my rugs, I'm tuned in to voiceitradio.com all day. What's poppin', y'all? This your girl, Miss Mother. You know I'm tuned in with Voice of Radio.
It's Big 40, man. I'm always tuned in with Voice of Radio.
What's poppin'? This your girl, Lucy, and I'm tuned in to Voice of Radio.
Hey, what up, man? It's your boy Big Kev.
What's going on, man? It's Bob back.
What's going on? It's your favorite host, Twan. So,
What up?
James Richard.
what's poppin'? It's your boy Cheesy from the Clear Motion Picture Gang that don't bang it. You are listening to Voice of Radio. Artists are, you are now tuned in to Voice of Radio.
What up with it? It's your boy Q Nice, man.
Poppin', it's your girl Jessie Jets, and I'm here, and I'm always tuned in to Voice of Radio.
Hello, this is Queen Minister Gwendolyn Pitts, and tune in to Daughters of the Nile every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. on voiceitradio.com. This is Chanel McLeod, and I'm always tuned in to Voice of Radio.
We are Voice of Radio, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on voiceofradio.com.
We're about to come back on.
And 2, 3, 2, and 1.
All right, we're back. Headlines, headings, voiceradio.com. With is Ice Cube with The Wicked Man. That's one of my high-powered songs that I chose today for. This is a high-powered race right now. We have wards and, mayors, and we're going to have a new mayor by January of 2022. So first of all, I got to give a couple of shout outs. Shout out to Mario Snowden. Shout out to Richard Starr, who's running for Ward 5. Shout out to Stan Edward Moore. And pretty much shout out to everybody that's listening to me. Darius Webb Marshall. Shout out to you guys and everybody on Facebook and Instagram, and those who's listening to www.voiceradio.com on your internet dial, pretty much. So back to Erick. Erick, the question we're going to have a new mayor. How would you, if you are elected, how would you deal with the new administration if you're elected?
So I'm excited about this race. I'm really excited. I have just Wednesday, the Cleveland Plain Dealer has endorsed me for Ward 4, and in it, I publicly have endorsed Justin Bibb. I think I saw Justin some years ago when he was running a nonprofit, and in it he kind of used his slogan that he's using today: "Cleveland can't wait."
Mm-hmm.
And so that got my attention because we can't. We've been waiting really for so long, and I was excited. I was excited to hear this young man who's very educated, who is passionate about Cleveland, and who wants to bring about change to our city. And I'm on board with him. And so if I'm elected and he's from the southeast side of Cleveland, I'm from the southeast side of Cleveland, and it's really important that we start getting things done over here. I think people have been left out for so long.
Especially the east side. Especially the east side.
Exactly. Especially the east side. We've been left out of the plan in City Hall for so long, and so I'm really excited to if he's the mayor, to work with him and move this city and this ward forward.
So any forums that you're going to have with your opponent, that would mean Miss Deborah Gray, who is running as well. So any forums, debates, anything that you have or have had personally with her, as far as people setting it up?
We've had a couple of forums. We just had one Wednesday, I believe, with Shaker Square Alliance, and it was virtual, of course, and so a young man, she and I, and a young man who's a write-in candidate, Antoine Tolbert, we were all part of that forum.
Okay. So the question is, why should people in Ward 4 vote for you to be their next councilman? Just remember one thing: I live in that ward.
So again, I want to bring about change to city council. I believe I'm going into city council with with not politics as usual, to kind of break that up. I want to bring back government transparency in what city council does. I want to, working with the CDCs. And let me just say this. We had a forum some time ago at Holy Trinity, and the director there of Mount Pleasant Now was there and asked the question of how would the candidates work with the CDCs.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I said, and I wasn't trying to grandstand in any way, I told them that I understand the relationship that the CDCs have had with the former council person. But the one thing that I will have to do is kind of ask them for, an audit of what things, of audit of how they were spending the money.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that for two reasons. One reason is that if I'm elected, I don't want anything, if there is impropriety, to kind of spill over
Right.
and I get the blame for it. So
You don't want to end up like the last council person.
Exactly. I don't look good in orange.
Right.
But the other thing, I think, it's about transparency and where those black block grant dollars are going. And so I want to make sure that we're engaging our community and letting them know what's going on. I think for far too long they have been excluded, and I think bringing me into this leadership role will bring about that transparency. So I just think that's a big issue.
Okay. Yeah, good thing getting the plain dealer endorsement. Speaking, it's always media and stuff is involved. We are an African American radio station. How important is African American media to the city and to City Hall, in your opinion?
African American
media
period is important to the entire country. It's very important. It brings about our perspective. It brings about what our issues are. It brings about what our concerns are in our communities. And so it even brings about right now there's a fight in this country to get rid of critical race theory and to get rid of history. Without African Americans, without Black people in this country, there would have never been the United States of America, because we were instrumental in building this with the blood and sweat and tears of our ancestors. And so I think Black media, Black television, Black radio shows has to get their message out, their perspective out into the community, so that everybody knows what our concerns are, what our issues are.
Right. So the thing that we want, that I am very important, is that it's how do you voter apathy? Pretty much in this primary, 16% of voters turned out for the primary to decide who was going to go on to the general. How do you increase that number on November 2nd or even before, because early voting is now?
So I think that's going to be a long-term goal. I have been working to try and increase voting, just period, just voting in our community, period. Um, Last year, when the murder of George Floyd happened, it was detrimental to me. I mean, to see that and to hear George cry for his mother as somebody kneeled their knee on his neck and took the life out of him. I couldn't sleep. And so one thing that I did in order to try to help and combat that, I got in my car and I went down to Washington, D.C. to protest right in front of the White House during the time where,
You rode down there, huh?
I got in my car and went down there.
Okay.
And, just kind of met people and got some ideas about what we need to do.
How long was the drive? Just
About
curious.
6 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I went down there and got some ideas and, from people, met some people and came back and talked to some people in the neighborhood and said, we've got to do something. And so we put together an event and we called it a call for change. And we used the number 4 for Ward 4. And the whole plan behind it was to get people out to come out and vote and to get people to sign up for the census. Let me say this about voting. Everyone wants change in our community. They want to see things happen. They want downtown, and they want the State House, and they want the White House to make changes to our community. But that's not going to happen if we don't get out and vote and put the people in place that's going to make those changes. It's up to us to do that. And so in talking and campaigning, I've been talking to a number of young people who are younger than me who says, I asked them, are they a registered voter? And they're like, well, no, because it's not going to make a difference. And I'm like, well, some of the questions that I asked them is, do you believe that the United States should raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour? The answer is yes. I asked them the question, do you believe that the United States should give reparations to Black people for the harm that has been done from slavery and Jim Crow and disinvestment and stealing land? And again, the answer is yes. And what the final question I asked them is, do you believe that there should be some accountability on the police from citizens like you? And the question to all 3 of them questions was yes. And one of the things I told them is that's not going to happen if we don't put people in power to make those changes. And to do that, you're going to have to vote. And so I believe instead of saying to our younger generation, people died, which they did. People shed blood and people died for the right to vote. I think we have to give them a reason to vote, a reason to go out and register, and a reason to get up on election day, on each election day, to go out and vote. And so, that's one of my plans is to figure out a way to try and engage people, especially our young, because they're coming into their own. They're going to be running this city and this country, and if not now, in the near future. And so it's imperative that they get involved politically.
Issue 24. That is the issue for communities to be involved when police are acting up. As much as people talk about, I heard, people talk about the dissent decree. And really, to be honest with you, I don't think the dissent decree, it's a thing, but if it's not put into action, then, it's just words written on paper.
Right.
What do you think about issue 24?
So I support issue 24. Like I said, I think in some form before, we've had 2, 3 consent decrees, and what has come out of them? It's just business as usual. And so now we have this opportunity for citizens like you and me to get involved and have a say in, the actions and disciplinary issues behind our police. And so I fully support it. I fully support it. It's now or never. We've got to find a way to change on how we're being policed, because the way that it has been done in the past, it's not working for us. We got black men dying, in the streets at the hands of at the hands of police every day. And so, how do we alleviate that? And I think it's time to get citizens involved to try and get that under control.
Okay. So the thing is that, you support issue 24. What do you say to those voters who want to vote for you, but not sure of issue 24? What do you say to those voters who are either against it or on the fence?
So, and this is just me, and I give my opinion. I know people have strong opinions for and against, but again, we've had the dissent decree. When the issue comes up that we're taking power and things of that nature away, no, we're not taking power. We're just redistributing power. Mm-hmm. We're giving power into the people who it affects. And so I think when they have buy-in to those things, now it benefits, I think, the police and the community.
Mm-hmm. All right, so how can people volunteer for your campaign, walk the street with you, and donate to your campaign? The biggest thing is donation.
So I have a website, www.walker4cleveland.com. This Sunday at 1:00, we're going to be meeting at Charles Dickens School, and we're going to be out canvassing. And so if you want to come out and walk with me on that day, please come. Everyone is welcome. Okay. You can go to the website and you can donate there. I have a Blue account that's up and going, and so we're trying to move forward with this campaign and get people involved.
Okay. So the thing about it is that you just want everybody. So to the voters out there, the election day is 2 weeks away. What you got a message to say to them before we go to the break?
So my message is, I think the soul of the city and the soul of our community is in stake. It's really now time for a change and to get back into where people are involved. Again, to use Councilwoman Gardner's statement, we've got to start putting neighbor back in neighborhood, and I just think that's imperative, and I'm committed to doing that.
Okay. So the thing about it is, like, Ward 4 is mostly in the black community on the east side. And the thing is that you want to, Ward 4 is pretty much damaged because of what happened with the other Councilman Johnson, who is convicted and about to be sentenced to 6 years in federal prison. What do you want to say to those voters? Is like, they're going to do what they're going to do, change what? How will you stay away from corruption?
So I have a lot of people in place that's going to check me. Like I said, I have my pastor, Pastor Joanza Coleman, who is the pastor at Olivet. Mm-hmm. And as everybody knows in this city, he has been very instrumental in speaking up and speaking out about the things that's gone on in the city. And so I'm pretty sure that if something comes up, he's going to check me on that.
Right.
I've got my family. My family, we have grown up making sure by our mother, we were mandated to help and to lend a helping hand to our fellow neighbors. And so My big sister, who is helping me with the campaign, will check.
Shout
in.
out to family for
Right.
helping.
That's them on my card, so that's my family.
Right. That's what's up.
So they're they're gonna check me in, and you know what, I've been paying attention to um, um, the trial for Mr. Johnson, and one reason why I wanted to pay attention to it is because yes, I want to know what's going on, but I want to make sure if I'm elected as well that never happened
Okay.
on my watch. So
So if you're elected, this never happens in Ward 4 ever again, right?
not during my tenure, it won't.
Okay. All right, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up with Erick B. Walker and some tidbits, just going to ask him some fun facts when we come back from break here on Headlines and Headaches on VoiceOfRadio.com. Let them in.
The door.
That was good.
We are Voice of Radio, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on voiceofradio.com.
How you feeling so far?
In forums, this allows me to kind of opine about my thought, my platform, and things like that. In forums, you have time limits and things like that. So.
We're about to go back on air. All right, we're back. Headlines and Headaches. That was Coffee Brown after the party, and then this is now Something for the People. My love is the. Sometimes, like, love can be the issue, or it can bomb on you, but it all depends on who you are. But we're back with Erick B. Walker, who's running for City Council Ward 4. I got a quote here on my Facebook Live from Brian Griffin. He says, shout out to both candidates in Ward 4. Looking forward to working with him. He is the candidate. He is the councilman of Ward 6, the Lashmere area. So, Erick, before we wrap up here, you want to give out your handles again, so how can people contact you? You know, you got the website, the social media handles, everything else like that.
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Erick B. Walker. If you want to go there, I'm using that to put out message. messages at www.walker4cleveland.com. And that's my Facebook page. You can go there and donate, read up on me, and see some things there.
It's hopefully your emails don't have the same thing John Gruder's emails had on them. If you were not if you weren't working for the library, what would be, fun fact, what people like, everybody knows about the credentials and things of that nature. Fun fact, what would you be doing if you weren't working for the library or running this campaign? What was your favorite dream job?
My favorite?
Your dream job.
My dream job. Dream job. Doing something and working to help people. That would have been my dream job. But prior to working at the Cleveland Public Library, and I was in the Army Reserves, and so had I not got the job at Cleveland Public Library, I would have been on active duty in the Army,
serving our protecting our country,
exactly.
Pretty much. So pretty much you're a veteran. So you served. So what's entailed as far as what skills would you bring that you learned from the Army to the City Council of Ward 4?
So again, just bringing those leadership skills to kind of galvanize people and to lead them forward. I believe it's one of the things that the service gave me. It gave me courage to go out and do the hard things, and so I believe that that's one attribute that I'll bring to the seat.
Okay. So, before we get off the air, any encouraging words for anybody that's wanting to run for any type of seats?
I just say to them to come with integrity. I went to, and I could say this. I went to Mayor Jackson's state of the city address, and the one thing that caught me at the end of it is he said that this job is not for chumps.
Right.
So he did say that, but he did say that if you're going to get involved and you're going to do it, make sure that you're coming with a purpose, and that purpose to stick to that purpose, and that purpose is not going to. And I'm paraphrasing, I'm not quoting him directly, but he said that purpose is to not going to please everyone, but it will keep you in lock and step with integrity. So I took that under advisement. I think just coming with a purpose and a plan and to stick by it. Everybody's not going to be happy, and if everybody's happy and likes you, you're probably not doing a good job anyway. So
right, exactly. Keep rising, King. Thank you, Darius Marsh, for that. So we're gonna go out here because Eric has to get back on the campaign grind. So you're going to have another meet and greet at Charles Dickens.
So that's going to be a canvas event. We're meeting
event.
there at 1:00 on that day. And so if anybody who believes in my campaign, anybody who wants to see change in Ward 4, anybody who wants to see change in City Hall, I believe that I'm that candidate. Come out, stomp with me, walk with me, and lend your support.
All right. Thank you, Eric. If nobody tells you that they love you today, I do. We're going to go out with one of my favorite songs, Get You Out of My Head, Lupe Fiasco with Trey Songz. So Peace, Love, and Hair Grease. I'm going to make an announcements about, shows going forward. So I will talk to you guys later. I love you all. Thank you for all your support. And we out. Peace. Thank you, Eric.
That was excellent. Thank you, guys.